this conversation about the National Guard. Now, okay, by the way, Trump suffered a setback in California. There was the trial court judge. It did not go to a jury, but this is a case decided on its merits. The judge decided that the Trump administration did not have the authority to deploy the Guard to California. Remember earlier in the year when the paid-for Arabella advisors, George, Soros, shady money going in there and buying everybody's cinder block bricks to rip the city apart. Trump sent in the National Guard. The Marines came out from Camp Pendleton. And look, ostensibly and I said this from the beginning, people asked, why isn't the Guard doing more? Why are they allowing this damage to LA to happen? I said, look, they're there to protect federal assets. So they have a limited purpose to stay, within the color of law. So I'm not surprised, folks, that the judge decided the way he decided. It is a battle lost for Trump, but I don't see this as likely to cause the war to be lost overall. So this case will be appealed. But I only bring it up because, of course, there's talk about the National Guard going to Chicago, going again back to Los Angeles, going to San Francisco, going to blue cities that are wrecked. This is different from ICE. And to be clear, federal officers can go basically anywhere in the United States to enforce federal law. That's the supremacy clause in action. That's permissible, no problem. We have this little pesky Posse Comitatus Act that technically, the broad strokes of it is, you can't send in the military to do law enforcement anywhere in the states. You could do it, by the way, in the Capitol. That's federal land. So again, the military can go in, but you can't do it you can't send the military into the states. Now, there have been exceptions to this. We've talked about this. You go back to Eisenhower, for example, 1957, Little Rock, Arkansas. Eisenhower deployed the National Guard there to enforce desegregation. He did this. He even sent in the 101st, I think it was 101st Airborne Division to protect black students. If you remember the Little Rock Nine. Well, the governor there wasn't pleased. He didn't have permission of the governor. The governor was violating the civil rights of American citizens in his state. The key critical thing here is, what is Trump using these troops for? And if you can argue, because there's another exception, right? Civil rights protections, yes. And in cases of rebellion. Now, I bring up the rebellion thing in particular, and I got it right here. I've got it at the tip of my fingers, folks. Don't you worry. The weekend, of course, Labor Day. A lot of people out there. So in advance of Labor Day, Brandon Johnson gave a little rally. Says, this was good. Yeah, well, he gets up there. He's the mayor of Chicago. He is one of the stalwart anti-Trump, stop Trump people when it comes to crime enforcement. By the way, I have it here. Chicago, 54 shot over the weekend, 7 killed. It's a bloodbath. But kind of like with the war dead in Ukraine, nobody wants to talk about it on the left. They want to talk about stopping Trump, resisting Trump. They're actually okay if people in the ghetto die, so long as Trump doesn't get his way, so long as Trump is thwarted politically. It's really sick stuff. So Johnson, this is what I'm getting at. Johnson, this was actually on Labor Day, yesterday, does this rally. Listen to some of the language that he uses. And again, I'm just reminding you, what are the exceptions to the Posse Comitatus Act? Here's what he said.
No federal troops in the city of Chicago. No militarized force in the city of Chicago. We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago. We're going to protect the humanity of every single person in the city of Chicago. And we got the baddest freaking labor movement in the city of Chicago, birthed right here. Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers? Are you prepared to defend this land? The people united will always prevail. I need you all to stand firm, to stand strong. If this president decides to continue to break this Constitution.
Feel like I'm at an ANC rally somewhere in South Africa. I mean, this guy, My point is, look at the language that he's using. It's an open rebellion against law and order. That's the color of his language. He's going to gather up the forces of the left. He's summoning the demons, right? Getting them all together. We're going to stand up. But what is he standing up for? He's standing up for the right of Chicago specifically, okay? And Illinois, the state generally, because the law matters. It's Illinois generally. He's standing up for the right of Chicago and Illinois to allow people to be murdered senselessly with violence that has run amok. That's a very bad position to take, in my opinion, just lawyer speaking, because all the administration has to do is say, well, those 7 people who were killed, the 54 that were shot, have a legitimate legal interest to the pursuit of happiness and to life. They have a reasonable expectation that their government will protect them. They have standing under the Civil Rights Act to live. And if the government is willfully abandoning these people by virtue of setting up sanctuary cities and defunding the police and doing all of these deliberate, overt acts of rebellion against the Constitution via the Civil Rights Act, then all of a sudden, by the way, I think it legally throws the door wide open for Trump to prevail in the Supreme Court.